Hi, Juliana. This is Linda. Thank you so much for submitting your essay. I wanted to take some time to go over it a little bit with you. So the format looks good. You've got your heading and a place for the title. You've got your margins look good. I would like for you to add a title. Don't call it a literacy narrative, but give it a name that fits with the topic of your essay, that kind of piques the reader's interest and helps us to want to read on more. I think you've done a really good job in your introduction. You started off with a question, which is a nice hook. It's not always great to use second person pronouns in college writing. It's a little bit less of a problem in a narrative, but just so you know, you might want to try to see if you can come up with a different way of saying the question. You know, I'm drawing a blank right now, but that's kind of, you want to try to like get a little bit more interesting with that question if you can, but that's later on. So I've done a couple of things in the essay. I've got some red marks and I've got some green highlights. There are these little blue icons here. These all are ways to kind of reach out at looking at how to work with your paper. I'm going to start off by talking to you about the green marks. What I did was I read through the whole essay and I was looking for sentences or phrases within the paragraphs that seem to all be kind of united in their focus and that go to the bigger idea of your essay. And so the first one I saw here was about how your teacher told you to continue writing. And then you talk about how she read your paper and she said you were an amazing writer and you were surprised because you were just writing because you enjoyed it, and that you loved to write and you discovered this love for writing and that you liked it as much as you could at that time as long as you enjoyed the topics that you were writing about. And so the learning edge for you, or the conflict that you had, was learning to enjoy writing in other ways also. And it seems that you learned that lesson, and that in particular you enjoy a journalistic style. So those are all good big ideas, and they're all connected to the bigger picture here, which is your development of literacy through writing, or your development of confidence and communication and the ability to kind of read your world by writing about it. And so these are things that I would call main ideas of your paragraphs. Now, in a traditional essay, when you are writing, I'm going to come down here to this blank page, and I'm just going to kind of draw you a little picture. When you're writing, your essay kind of has a tendency to look like this. Sorry, it's going to look kind of crazy right here. It's going to start off rather broad, like you did with a story. It's going to narrow down to a main idea, and then the body paragraphs of the essay are going to explain what this main idea is. So what I see is that you've narrowed down to this experience with learning to write, and then you proceed to tell us your experiences with that. And that's good. That's exactly what I want you to do. Now, if I were to break down a paragraph for you, a paragraph should start, so like paragraph organization should start off with, let's see if I can, let's see if I can add to that. Oh, guess not. Okay. Well, anyways, paragraph organization needs to start off with your topic sentence, or the controlling idea. It needs to connect with the rest of the essay. It needs to have details and specifics about that topic that you're writing about, and and it needs to have a concluding sentence, which is also going to be a transition if it's in between paragraphs. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm looking for in your overall paragraphs, and that's what I want to talk to you a little bit about here. So for example, up here I see that, so you go from this green sentence here isn't really a controlling idea, and so what I would like to see you do is right here, and if you read my comment over here, you're going to explain why you kept on writing. This is going to be your kind of thesis, like explain that you were having fun, or that you liked writing about how you felt, or that you found your voice on the paper, that kind of a thing. But you need to explain why you continue to write, and then that gives your reader the focus. And you could call that like your thesis. Thesis statements are a little bit different in a narrative, but that's what you could think of as your thesis. So then if I keep that same idea in mind, and I have another green sentence, she read your paper and her response was a shock to you because she thought you were such an amazing writer. So I have here, I want you to change that dash to a comma and capitalize your, because what you have here is a little bit of dialogue. And this, you were surprised because you didn't write to impress her, you wrote for yourself, which is so awesome. And what I'd like you to do is take this whole section and actually move it up in your essay. Let's see if I don't think it's going to let me have you move it, but let's see if I can get it to work. Nope. And so anyways, these are details in here, and we don't want to end a paragraph with details. We want the details to be kind of in the middle of the paragraph and end on the strong idea that's going to relate back to your theme. And so here you have another strong idea. I realized how much I love to write in a very journalistic style. So this actually works because this is a transition up here. You're kind of giving us a little bit of information, and then usually you can find a topic sentence within the first 1 or 2 sentences of a paragraph. So I actually think this works, but I would like you to maybe give some examples about the various topics, and that's what this comment over here says. Be specific. Don't just say various. It's a very general term. And then you've got a little bit of an error here. Why am I having trouble with my tools are not wanting to work here? But and you've got some details. Here's another misspelled word here. This is another. So you want to. It's actually 1 F and 2 R's. And you discovered, and then we have another big idea here. So I had discovered my love of writing. I would recommend that you probably delete had. I don't know if it's going to let me do that. Yeah, there we go. And just say, I discovered my love for writing. That helps clean it up a little bit. Take out any of those unnecessary words. And then we have a little bit of a conflict where you had to do something that was a little bit more formal. And so here again, you've done a nice thing. You've got a little introduction, and then you've got the main idea. And then you give some detail, and you didn't find much interest in it, and you did not do very well. So I would stop the paragraph here, and I would explain why you didn't do very well. Let's see if I can get you to... I think what I want you to do is explain why, and give a little bit more detail. This is a chance for you to have another paragraph, okay? So that will become its own paragraph, and then you're going to start a new paragraph here, and here is this new main idea. And this main idea here is that writing is a great opportunity to get out of our comfort zone. So it works here. You've got this you kind of transition, you explain, and then you give the main idea, and you give this detail, this wonderful quote, and then she was able to take a negative experience and turn it into learning. And then once again, I want you to, you need to explain more, okay? Explain more. Why was this moment significant for you? And think about, in the bigger picture, you're telling your reader that you went through this process of learning to use your writing as part of your voice. So then if you do that, then when you get into this paragraph, writing is something so powerful, you're able to, and then you've got to get rid of those you words, okay? We don't want to have any second person pronouns here. Oh, gosh, I don't know why I'm having a problem with that. And it is sometimes overlooked to be this ideal waste of time, but writing is something that helps escapes my thoughts. Okay, so this sentence, I'm usually, by the time we get to an end of an essay, sometimes we're this sentence needs some help. It needs some reconstruction. It allows me to express myself even if no one is going to read it. Journalism in particular, I think you need to define for your reader what journalism is. And I think you probably want to do that earlier in the paper when you first talk about it. But mainly what I'm saying is that I want you to go back and look at your essays. I want main ideas either in the first 1 or 2 sentences or in the last sentence, and they need to connect together. Right now you've got them kind of, there, as you can see, there's not really any order to them. There's a somewhat of an order, but I want you to get more mindful of how to put that paragraph together. And then I would revisit this conclusion because I like this last sentence, or actually I like this second to last sentence, and I'm very intrigued by this idea of empowerment. And one of the comments over here is that I think this is probably one of the strongest ideas in your essay and one to end on, but you need to explain why writing makes you feel so empowered, particularly journalism. And you need to define that, especially because you did this in 4th grade. And it's obviously stuck with you. So anyways, I hope this really helps, and thank you so much for your submission. I look forward to reading the final draft. I'll talk to you later. Bye.